Hi, I'm Ricky Kalmon, and welcome to another episode of Amplify Your Mindset. Thank you for listening in. If you're watching, whether you're watching from my mobile app or from any type of platform, thank you so much for your support. Please check out my book, Leverage Your Mindset, available online from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, and Walmart. And don't forget to check out my mobile app on mindfulness and meditation. I'm going to show you how to leverage your mindset to enhance a growth mindset. Just go to your app store and search the title, Ricky Kalmon. I am so thrilled to get right into my guest today. John Assaraf is a leading expert, leading mindset expert, a behavioral expert. He has appeared on numerous appearances on Larry King, Anderson Cooper, The Ellen DeGeneres Show. John has built a $5 multi-million corporate businesses. He has written 2 New York best-selling books. They've been translated in 35 languages and has been featured in 10 movies, including the blockbuster The Secret, Quest for Success with Richard Branson and the Dalai Lama. Today, he is CEO of MyNeurogym.com. It's a company that's dedicated to helping individuals strengthen their mindset and emotional skills so they can achieve their goals and dreams so much faster. John, welcome to the program.
Ricky, it is so great to reconnect with you. You and I, as you know, we've met many years ago, and so it's great to be on your show.
Absolutely. And I remember reading about you years before The Secret, when I was just really tapping into this field of mindset, and I was so fascinated. And then when I saw you on The Secret, and then millions of people around the world, it obviously it was a trend. People still talk about the book. It's timeless. And so if you're out there going, well, what's The Secret? What is all this? You stop what you're doing after this podcast, buy the book, watch the program, watch the movie. It's inspirational, and you're going to learn something new from a lot of different experts in the field. But you stand out as I'm a big fan. So welcome to the program. Thanks for being here. John, we even talked off air. In my whole career, I'm a hypnotist. That's where my career started. And then over the years, 34 years in this business, as I was doing my show, mindset mattered in everything we did. And it opened up the door to a conversation of showing people how to use mindset to achieve more of their goals. Sounds familiar. And the hypnosis part was really just teaching people that inner hypnotist is themselves. And we can tap into so much more potential and not put a limit on that potential. Because when people go, oh, I got to reach my potential, that puts a limit on it. And you show people today, and you've pivoted in your career, and you're a content guy. You've got so much content. I want to start with, how did it start with you?
Sure. So, my journey around understanding the power of my own mind, brain, started many, many years ago when I was actually in high school and failed math and failed English and left in grade 11 and was voted most likely to fail in life. And so I had one mentor, Ricky, that in one afternoon lunch that was arranged by my brother, who was concerned for my health and well-being, this man, his name was Alan Brown, agreed to meet me for lunch. And Alan Brown at the time was a real estate developer. He had 7 real estate offices, about 500 or 600 real estate agents who worked for him. He was a philanthropist, happily married, in shape. I mean, he looked like he had it all. And so my brother met me for lunch. I took the train from Montreal to Toronto, where I was living at the time. And at lunch, this guy asked me, what were some of my life's biggest goals and dreams? And at the time, I was 19, to be precise. I had a dream of getting my car, moving out of my parents' house, and getting a really good job, because at the time I was making $1.65 an hour in the shipping department of Philips Electronics, and knew that I was going nowhere. And he asked me if I had any bigger goals and dreams. And I said, well, no, not really. So he said, do me a favor, take this document that I have brought with me, and I want you to fill out some of these answers. And I said, sure, what's the document? And it was actually the 1980 goal setting guide. 1980. Put into perspective, right? So I opened up this document and I looked at the first question, and here I am, 19. First question, at what age do you want to retire? What? I'm 19. I want a job. Forget about retirement. I said to him, what should I put down here? My father's not even retired. He said, just put down a number that you want. So I wrote down 45, 26 years later. Second question, how much net worth do you want to have? I looked at Mr. Brown, looked at the paper, looked at Mr. Brown. I said, Mr. Brown, what does net worth mean? Didn't know. He told me what net worth was. Third question was, what kind of lifestyle do you want to live? Where do you want to travel? What kind of car do you want? What kind of home do you want? What kind of clothes do you want to wear? Who do you want to help? And so forth. And so I wrote down all this stuff that just came out of my head from watching TV and from seeing, other people's lives. He looked at me, Ricky, and he said to me, I'm going to ask you one question. The answer to this question determines whether you'll achieve every one of these things. I go, one question? And he looks at me and he says, son, are you interested in achieving these things or are you committed? And I was a little dumbfounded. I said, Mr. Brown, what's the difference? And he said, if you're interested, you'll do what's easy and convenient. If you're interested, you'll use your stories and excuses and your reasons why you can't or why it's not possible for you. If you're interested, you will just keep repeating the same thought, emotional, behavioral patterns over and over and over again, hoping, praying, and wishing for something to change. However, if you are committed, you will upgrade, and you're going to love this. You will upgrade your identity to match this destiny that you wrote down on a sheet of paper. You will upgrade your knowledge, your beliefs, your habits, your skills to achieve every one of these goals. And you will let go of the self-image that doesn't believe you're worthy enough or capable of enough to achieve these goals. You'll let go of the disempowering, destructive beliefs that are holding you hostage to the same results over and over again. And you will upgrade your habits so that you become a high-performance individual. So he says, are you interested or are you committed? And I'm sitting there going, wow, this sounds great. Interested, committed, interested. And I just blurted out, well, I'm committed, Mr. Brown. And he reached over and he put his hand in mine. He said, in that case, I'll be your mentor. And I remember this like it was yesterday because I said to him, Mr. Brown, what's a mentor? And I didn't know. But what happened that day is he shifted my mindset. He shifted my focus and he shifted my awareness from the results I was achieving and the reasons why I thought I was achieving them to a vision and some goals I had no way of achieving because I didn't know how. And he shared with me that the how always comes after the commitment to the what. The how always comes after the commitment to the what it is that you want. And so I was 19 at the time. I quit my job, moved to Toronto, started working in real estate for him. And over the next 18 months with his coaching, I made $180,000. And my career took off as a young real estate agent. That was 41 years ago.
There's two things that come to mind as you tell me this. One is, and this is something, very synergetic, is, I like you, we speak on platform with multiple other speakers of like-minded philosophies, but they overlap and they complement each other to reinforce that message.
Right.
You're speaking my language. You're speaking this to my audience that have heard me speak. And if you're new to this podcast, this is just wait. We're just strap on because we're gonna talk about how powerful this stuff is. The second thing is, and I'm curious too, because what he spoke about, a 19-year-old man, I was thinking about some of my mentors at such a young age as well. As you're telling the story, I'm thinking about my friends, ironically, in the real estate business. Had me write things down. Honestly, I was 16 years old buying my first car. And one of my mentors said, if you want to buy a car, what kind of car? Don't just think it, write it down, make a contract with yourself. To this day, I remind him about that skill set and I talk to my audience. And I'm sure to this day, as more than anybody, when you write it down, you are committed. You are making a contract. You don't want to let yourself down. Now you hold yourself accountable based on the written word versus the mental word of it.
Yeah. So it's interesting you say that because not only did I write down what I wanted out of my imagination, I just pulled stuff out of thin air, but every day Starting in June of 1980, he had me looking at what I wrote down. And then I created pictures to go with the vision and the goals of what I wrote down. Ricky, it's 40 years later. You see this exceptional life blueprint? Here are the vision and the goals and some of my life. And here is the written down everything in my life: health, wealth, relationships, career, business, finance, charity, contribution, fun, and experiences. Everything is written down. I review this every single day, and I'll tell you why in just a minute.
Okay, I'm holding on. Should I wait a minute? Let's go right for it. Because you got my attention.
Yeah. So part of understanding the human brain just a little bit, I became fanatical about behavioral neuroscience and neuropsychology research. Like, what happened to me? That was my first question. What happened to me? Here's a guy, interested versus committed. I said committed. I wrote it down. I started reviewing these visions and these goals I had no idea how to achieve. Then I started working 1 hour a day on upgrading my mindset and my skill set, taking action, got it. But then I went on to build my own real estate company from the age of 26 to 36 that had 85 offices, 4.5 billion a year in sales, doing 25,000 transactions a year. And then I taught it to my agents, and they went from an average earning of $38,000 a year to $120,000 a year average for 1,200 salespeople. I was fascinated. What happened there? As I believe that every one of us has one of these, not a plastic brain, but in between our ears and our skull. And I believe that that asset is worth $100 billion. It's the greatest biocomputer organism in the known universe. Is it possible that we're just not very good operators yet? And is it possible that with just a little bit of adjustments, we can actually use this biocomputer better instead of allowing it and the old conditioning and ideas and paradigms that we have about ourselves and what's possible to achieve success easier, faster than ever before? You know, one of the visuals that I like to have, and I'll tell you why again, and once why I look at my goals every day, is imagine if there's a car that comes out of a factory and it's able to do 200 miles an hour, but there's a governor on it that doesn't allow it to go more than 40 miles an hour. The capability is 160 miles an hour more, but if it can't go more than 40 miles an hour, it would make logical sense if you want to go faster, just take the governor off. Well, as you know, many of us, because of our conditioning, we have governors, we have limitations that are holding us back. And it might be limiting beliefs, it might be self-image, it might be a lack of knowledge and skills, it might be self-image, self-worth, etc. All solvable today. So why do I look at my vision and my goals and my strategies and the outcomes that I want to achieve every day? And the answer is because to a brain that has 6,200 thoughts a day and to a world where we have thousands and thousands of distractions via text, email, YouTube, podcasts, and everybody else trying to get our attention, I am priming my biocomputer every day with what I want it to help me focus on. Now, what do we know? And listen, I'm preaching to the choir here with you, but maybe other people may not hear this, is we already know that whatever we become conditioned to think about, however we become conditioned to feel, and however we become conditioned to behave, becomes an automatic pattern. And any pattern that we repeat becomes a reinforced pattern that goes from a conscious effort pattern to an unconscious implicit pattern, part of what I call is the automatic self or default mode network. So we develop these habitual ways of being, and we have these visions and goals that are not aligned with these things that, the conditioning that we've had. So one of the reasons I prime my brain daily is to be able to tell my brain, this is the important stuff for me, help me achieve this. So I'm using my brain to help me achieve my goals versus my brain using me to stay comfortable, in its comfort zone to conserve energy. So priming my brain is something I've been doing for 40 years. And I don't see myself stopping, because if we don't take care of our brains, it's like a garden. The weeds take over.
Hmm. Absolutely. You mentioned something here, and I want to tap into it a little bit, that you do this every single day. Um, One thing that comes up in conversation quite often, and I remind my audience this, and I'm sure you do too, and we're going to dive a little personal here. We're human.
Of
We are
course.
absolutely human. We are not perfect machines. We are not immune to things that are going on around us. One of my famous thoughts and phrases that I say out loud, and what I say to myself, is we can't control what's happening around us, but we can control how we perceive and react to it. And being human myself, I have been in situations, I'm sure, twice today, 10 times, whatever, where doubt gets in the room, frustration gets in the room, whatever it may be, an upset feeling gets in the room. It's okay. It's how we react to it. And as a trainer of the brain, you and I both understand this. We have to put ourselves in check on a regular basis. So I admit all the time to my audience, I make mistakes. I make mistakes and I'm not perfect, but it's how I handle it. So I try not to make the mistake twice. Do you find personally that do you catch yourself wanting to almost listen to yourself as though you're in the audience at sometimes, to put yourself back in track?
Absolutely. Listen, the fact that we can, stand here and talk about it doesn't mean that we need to not participate in what we're talking about. So, when we talk about, self-doubt, fear, anxiety, stress, those are effects. The problem isn't the effect. What most people have not been taught, it's really an ignorance problem. And what most people have not been taught, and ignorance just means not knowing, is how do I become more aware, okay, of my patterns, of my effects, so I could just play at the cause level and be a little bit more in control,
Right.
right? It's no different than, if you think about a Navy SEAL, an astronaut, and a firefighter. They have to learn how to perform under the most extreme stressful conditions. And they do that because they've practiced it so many times. So they've learned to automatically react appropriately, because practice is what makes permanent. And so when we have an opportunity to practice negative thoughts or negative emotions or negative behaviors, right? Then we have one more bite at the apple, so to speak. And now we're talking about mastering your mindset. Now we're talking about mastering your emotions. Now we're talking about mastering your behaviors. And when you can get to the level of mastering your mindset, emotions, and behaviors, it's not that you're immune to negative thoughts or emotions or disempowering behaviors. It's now you have the skill set to deal with what's happening in real time.
Hmm. Yeah, it's no different. And I'm sure you've used this analogy too at some point. We train our muscles to do things from writing to running to performance as an athlete, but training the brain on a continuous basis is so important. What inspires
You know what I
you?
call that?
Please.
Well, if you look behind me, there's a book, and I own the trademark for it. It's called Inner Size.
Oh, I like that. I love that.
So we have been teaching people to inner size. So we strengthen our muscles with exercise. We strengthen our neuro muscles with inner size. So I trademarked that many years ago, wrote the best-selling book a couple of years ago. And all the stuff that we do is create inner sizes for people to strengthen their core neuro muscles.
No. So I want to move forward a little bit. Oh, actually, no, I want to go back though, because I was just about to ask you the questions. What inspires you? I want to talk about Neurogym here in a few,
Sure.
Neurogym, and I want to talk about the Brain-a-thon. But I want to know what inspires you, because and I'll tell you why I asked this question. When I was a young man in my teens, and I had many mentors always saying to me, "Never give up, self-discovery never ends. Read as much as you can. Listen to as many people as you can in your entire life, and never feel as though you're at your same level. You can always be inspired. And there was this theory, and I'm wondering if you've ever heard this theory, that even the top people that you and I admire, the people that we think are really on their top of their game, whether it's even just the dad next door, the mom that coaches soccer, whatever it may be, or the high performing athlete or the CEO, the people that we think are at the highest level or at a high level of mindfulness, there's a theory that they continually try to train their brain too. And they probably on the side of their bedside, on their nightstand, they probably have books of other motivational speakers, other coaches too. So I'm curious, who coaches the coach here? You.
So I have different coaches for different parts of my life. And it's interesting that you say that because 2 Friday nights ago, I went over to Dennis Wakely's house, and Brian Tracy came over and Darren Hardy came over. Some pretty legendary individuals in Dennis and in Brian. And we were actually helping each other with some stuff. And it was fascinating to us how, we all were willing to accept help from each other and distinctions from each other, and also, giving each other the accolades of, we're learning from you, you're learning from us, and it has never stopped. And here is I think the couple of things that we came to. Number one is we're all extremely curious. And so we're willing to open up and listen and learn something new. Number two, every one of us, there were about 10 people at the table, the 3 that I mentioned, most people would know their names. Every one of us believes that we can get better, that we can have a mental, breakthrough, an emotional breakthrough, a behavioral breakthrough, something that we could do to get even better at our craft. And the fact that we're curious and we're allowing ourselves to be open to another way of refining our skills and solidifying, strengthening our skills, and removing, getting rid of the obstacles that are in our way. I think that is one of the key elements. And you talked earlier about a growth mindset, right? So part of having a growth mindset is being open to another way on top of what you may already know to accomplish and do what you want to do. And the very nature of the most successful people is, yes, they tend to be very, very confident in their way, because if they're successful, it's worked. But the reason they got that way is they've learned and applied, what other very successful people have taught them. And so we're all standing on the shoulders of giants.
I love the idea of just always stay curious. Don't get too comfortable in that warm blanket. Be curious. Look for ways. I still remember about 10 years ago, sitting in the audience, a friend dragged me because I didn't want to go. And as soon as I got there, I'm like, I'm so glad I'm here. And I get there, and there's a motivational program, and it's just packed room of all motivational speakers. And I'm taking notes out, and now I'm so engaged, and I'm writing things down. And then somebody raises their hand up, and about 5, down from my right. And the speaker said, "Yes, Brian Tracy, what can I help you with?" And it was Brian Tracy. And I was more in awe, and it taught me more that he was there in self-discovery mode than I was so into that moment, realizing, you see, we're all creatures of growth. And it doesn't make a difference who you are. You humble yourself that you can be better. And I love the fact that you guys get together, you check you're all friends. There's no egos. You check them at the door, and you learn through curiosity and conversation. Let's jump right in, because I don't want to take up too much time here. I want to jump right into NeuroGym and the Brain-a-thon. Let's talk about that and what this is. A very unique 9th year you're doing this, coming up in October 23rd, correct?
You are correct. So almost 9 years ago, as I mentioned, I do a lot of behavioral neuroscience and neuropsychology research to see what's new, what's hot, what are the distinctions that we've had in the last year around mindset control, emotional control, getting rid of destructive, disempowering habits, and starting and reinforcing constructive, empowering, positive new ones. And so each year, starting 9 years ago, I brought together some really top brain and success experts with a neuroscience and neuropsychology slant to bring to the world a free event that they don't have to pay for to learn from some of the giants in the world. And so we've had so many amazing people. And so this year, last year we actually had Dennis Waitley. This year I've got Lisa Nichols. I've got Jack Canfield. I've got Marissa Peer. I've got Dr. John D. Martini. I've got Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett. I've got who else do I have? Nirka. I've got 6 or 7 world-leading brain and success experts sharing their how-to. How to remove the obstacles, how to achieve more success, so we can help people get rid of the stuff that's really in their way and give them the best chance to achieve their goals and dreams faster. And this year's theme is change your brain, change your income. And I happen to believe and know for a fact that some people struggle with money and they might be in a scarcity mindset. Some people are in a safety or security mindset. Some people are in an abundance mindset. But every one of us has another gear, another level we could play at. In order to play at that other level, it usually helps to see people that are playing at that level to show you what's possible. So this year, we've got a theme of change your brain, change your income. It happens October 23rd. It's free. It's probably about 6 or 7 hours, and people will join us for 2 hours or 6 or 7 hours. And we expect about 100,000 people to register this year. We've had anywhere from 44,000 to 155,000 people register for our previous Brain-a-thons for this one-day event. So
I'm going to put all this information on my website, but I'm going to let you plug right now. Tell us, how do people go and log in and register for this?
Sure. So they can either go to brain-a-thon.com if they would like, or if they want to go to my Facebook page and go to instant messenger there and just type in brain. Don't type in anything else. Look me up, type in brain, or go to Instagram, send me a message, brain, or Facebook, message brain, and we'll give you a link as well, Ricky, which will be the easiest way for people at the bottom of these show notes to just click on the link and register. So brain-a-thon.com is the easiest.
And you mentioned Facebook, but also, I don't know if you know this, I follow you on Instagram too. And I watch your videos, and you are always out there you get real personal. There's a lot of speakers and a lot of people in different fields that they keep their professional life and their personal life. And I think you're very open, and you really want to bring people in closer. I think you have an emotional connection with people.
Thank you.
When you speak in your material, and I think you always have. I don't think you've changed from the days when The Secret first came out. I think I followed you, and I know that you've stayed true to your art, and I think you really do, truly to this day, enjoy what you do. And I'm sure that you still love hearing from just that one person that you helped change their life, and you helped kind of help them just redirect their path.
What's really interesting about what you say? I'm going to show you something. Let's see if I can you see the boxes over there?
Yes, I can.
So there's a box that didn't know who it was from. We just opened it, and my executive assistant's here in the office with me, and we opened it, and inside was there's a few gifts, like 4 or 5 gifts, a beautiful handwritten note from a young lady in the UK who 2 years ago was abused by her father. Her father had her watch her mother. She was trying to commit suicide. The mental and emotional and physical abuse that this young lady had, she couldn't even talk without putting her hands in front of her face. She was so embarrassed of who she was. And she's been training her brain using some of our exercises. And she sent this box, and she doesn't even have a job. She makes money taking care of her mother. And I don't know what she invested in whatever she purchased, but the care that she did, because her life is transformed now. She started her own blog. She's now teaching how she's gone through the transformation. That to me is worth all of it. All of it. Sure, I could tell you the business owner I've worked with that's built $1 billion company because he's applied the stuff, but this is a person that life is on the line for them. And she was suicidal too. going through therapy, no longer suicidal, no longer going through therapy, starting her own business. She's just in
Mm.
her mid 20s. I can somehow use my life in a way to touch somebody else's life like that. I get to do that and see that every day just by using my stories and my research and what I've discovered for myself. And so that is what gives my life the most purpose and meaning.
No,
And
you just said it.
yeah, and I know you
Sorry to
know
interrupt you, but you just said the magic word purpose. Not only do you have purpose yourself, and you redefine that purpose every single day. I think we do. I think we when we become better at what we do, we redefine our own purpose, but then we show other people how to create purpose.
yeah, it's
Uh,
that's the greatest feeling in the world when you can be your own example for you, so you believe in you, and then you can share a little bit of that light with another human being, and they have a breakthrough or more, and then they do it, and they do it. It's really the human spirit is really lifting each other up as we climb, and we're all trying to get better at this and stop that, get rid of that. So if I can discover something and you can discover something, we can share that. It makes life so much more fun.
You know, the last year and a half, we've all been challenged how to do, how to live, how to breathe in some ways, how to challenge ourselves in our businesses and our personal lives. And I truly believe it has set the tone for people to understand mindset more than they ever had to before. It was dismissed. Mindset was somewhat dismissed for many, many years as something you just check off. Sure,
Yeah,
I'm mindful. Sure, I'm aware of my thoughts. But I think now more than ever, people are stepping up and realizing this is training no different from skill training or professional training. And again, I highly recommend if you're listening to this podcast and you are, regardless of who you are, what you do, mindset matters in everything, every
yeah,
decision, action, conclusion, agreement, disagreement. Whatever it may be, is probably directed by your mindset before you even started it. And I'm telling you right now, this investment on October of 23rd, whether it's 6, 7 hours, don't overthink the time. Think about the value that you're going to receive. And I know I'm cheerleading a little bit, but you know I'm a fan, and I'm a fan of many of those people that you've spoke about. Jack Canfield, I've seen him speak. He is fascinating, compelling. Lisa Nichols. Oh, wow. So
yeah.
uh, you've got a great group of people, great team leaders there. Um, I know I'm leaving some people out, but I'm going to leave everything at rickykalmon.com. That's rickykalmon.com. Go directly to the website or from the platform within the app. I'll put a link in there to John's site as well so you can register. Spend the time. It'll be a great investment. And when I say investment, an investment in you.
Yep, absolutely.
John, it was a pleasure. I'd love to have you back. I'm honored that you spent some time with me. I know how busy of a person you are. I'm humbled and grateful, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Ricky, for doing the work you do in the world. You make a big, huge difference, and I hope you know that. And thanks for sharing your audience and your stage with me.
Absolutely, my friend.